It's in a series of tests for Jesus in this last week that he lives and before his crucifixion. And the Pharisees and the Herodians have come to Jesus to put him to the test. And it's a really simple question. Should we pay taxes to Caesar or not? But behind it, they have a motive. The Pharisees would love Jesus to say no. The Herodians are convinced that it should be a yes. But for Jesus to say yes is to side with the evil Roman Empire. But to say no is to pit himself against that very power. And so the Pharisees and Herodians think they've got Jesus between a rock and a hard place. So listen to what they do. Picking up in Matthew 22:16 and 17. "Teacher," they said, "we know that you're a man of integrity and that you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. You aren't swayed by others because you pay no attention to who they are. Tell us then, what is your opinion? Is it right to pay the imperial tax to Caesar or not?" Of course, Jesus knows their heart. He knows what they're doing. And so he cleverly asks them to produce the coin. So they have to come up with the coin, and then he asks them who's on it. And they have to acknowledge that they have a coin that has Caesar's image with it. And it likely had an inscription that said something like this: Augustus Tiberius Caesar, son of the divine Augustus. In other words, this coin was making it clear to everyone who held it that Caesar thought he was the son of a god. He was divine in some sense. He had authority beyond any other person on earth. The scholar N.T. Wright notes that coins were kind of like a mass communication tool in that day. In a day before Twitter and social media and texting and instant communication, the emperor was able to get his message far and wide simply by putting his inscription and his face on the coin and the coins that would go around, so that everyone would carry it around and they would realize who this emperor thought he was. And he claimed that he was someone special and had the authority that they should all recognize. So Jesus answered simply. You know the answer probably, right? He said, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar, give to God what is God's." Which, of course, in some ways almost leads you to ask more questions. Okay, what belongs to Caesar? What belongs to God? And the first thing we should remember is we need Caesar in our life. We need government. We need authority. We need structure to keep things working and to keep people safe and to give us what we need kind of at a big picture level. But we also have to recognize that Caesar often claims more power for himself than he deserves or ought. And so the question Jesus asks, I think, in part is, do we believe Caesar is who he says he is? Now, we wouldn't say we believe Caesar is who he says he is, but I would challenge you that sometimes the way we act indicates otherwise. Every time we trust Caesar for more than he can provide, we're giving him more than he deserves. For example, if we're more concerned about the state of Washington, D.C. than the state of our hearts, then we're probably giving Caesar more than his due. When we spend more time on politics and anger and being upset at the other side and blame, then we've given more confidence to Caesar than he deserves and his ways. Every time our political persuasion is more prominent than our faith, we've given Caesar more than his due. And every time people know us more for our positions about issues and less about our position as a follower of Jesus, we've given Caesar more than his due. I think this week especially is a great time to refocus our focus on Jesus, to pause and to make sure that we give Caesar his appropriate due, but we don't give him more than that. To be extra vigilant, especially in this, an election year, to not let Caesar claim more than his due. For at the end of the day, the starting place for anyone who would seek after God is to give God what truly belongs to him. Our lives, our hearts, our minds, our strength, our total selves. This is what belongs to God. This is our starting place. And it happens when we remember that we are the image of God, not Caesar. And we show that image to each other and to the world, not first by the power of our politics, but first by the reach of our love.